killing you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But you look smooth right now. This is smooth as you
Yeah,
look.
it looks good now.
Yeah. Looks good. Whatever you did,
better hurry up.
right. Do that.
Hey, I thought it'd be cool.
Do that. As we are recording, as we are here. Hey, everybody, we are back. We're back once again. And yes, I know I said we were going to do it different, but we're going to just go ahead and keep it rolling. Right there at the bottom, you see two other individuals that are with the OGs tonight. I got my man Nathan directly under me. I got my man Stoner right to the other side, and they represent RefTheDistrict. If you haven't heard or you haven't watched it, you don't understand anything about the DMV and sports when it comes to what's going on in Washington and the Commanders. You're tripping, you're lunching, you are out of pocket. So you make sure right now, as you do with our channel, like and subscribe to both channels, RefTheDistrict as well as DMV Sports 3 and the OGs of the DMV show. And what we do right at this time, fellas, we always say before we do it, Let's get it.
Let's get it. Youngest leader this shit nowadays. I got a call to make it in the summer. Youngest on the corners be runners. Out of towners be straight up corners. In DC, the gay corpse, dirty Cadillacs, Desert Eagle cannon blast. Watch your back. Even the hood rats, keep it real where the hood's at. Swinging wooden bats at your so-called cats. You know how we roll. Y'all get up in the back, roll call in the back. Stole the Bama, watch his ass go flat.
In DC, when you got chickens that make it harder to get them digits, the skins and them cowboy tickets.
All right, we are back. We are back again. And this time, like I said, we're rolling with these individuals that are going to add to the flavor and the finesse that we do here on the show. Today, fellas, and everybody, how y'all feeling right now? Let's start from there. What y'all feeling about our Commanders overall with this is the second week of OTAs?
Yeah, I think it's the second week. You know, I think we fell in this trap last year. There's a lot of excitement kind of going in.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. Oh, I'm about to lose control, and I think
Dan's removed from the team. Tanya's out there tossing balls at training camp. But I'm falling for it again. It's the Ashburn syndrome. Like, you just get excited. You got Carson Wentz with a live arm. You got Jahan Dotson, who's out there just outrunning everybody.
AKA on this show, we call him Sticky Fingers. Let's spread the word. That's his nickname, Sticky Fingers.
He catches everything. So, yeah, a lot of excitement for me. You know, I'm falling for that trap yet again, every year.
How can you not? You've taken a team that was mediocre with a terrible quarterback, and it's basically the same team. You lost a couple of guys. It's essentially the same team. You got a better schedule. You've improved at the most important position in all of sports. So why is there not excitement for this team to get above that 7-game threshold and possibly get into double figures? You got to be excited, and they haven't done anything to bring you the other way yet. So let's get excited about this. It's okay. We've been burned many times, but it's okay that we still get excited in the off season and get ready as training camp is approaching. It's all right. You can do that. Don't stop yourself from loving this team.
No.
Guys, before we get into the topic of the day, since y'all were out there at OTAs and everything, I mean, how did the overall team look, especially how did the defense look? How did the young guys on defense look?
So I wish we were closer to the defense. A lot of the defensive drills and when they were actually doing the like offense versus defense, that was happening the whole football field away with blocking with players. You didn't get to see a whole lot. Now, I will say the defense was cheering at least 2 times that I can think of. So they were making plays on the balls and they were kind of out there. I will say that a lot of that was coming, not surprisingly, I think, from kind of the DBs, right? Not a whole lot of action happening with the linebackers, and your offensive line and defensive line aren't going to go full throttle, you know, without pads on. So, right. But yeah, the DBs were jumping routes and looking lively. So that's to me pretty exciting. And as we go in, because there was a lot of issues last year, communication wise, where they're going to be with some of their additions this year. I think we're going to see some good things.
Hey, was there any St. Juice sightings out there?
Yes, he was out there, and in fact, they've had him play in the slot a couple of times. A big slot cornerback, I think, is kind of what teams are kind of trying to go to. And I forget who it was. Someone brought up his RAS score, his raw athletic score. He's got a lot of the quick twitch, the quick movements. So hopefully that's where he can go, because I think Fuller actually showed that he was better outside last year. So if St. Juice could move inside, keep Fuller on the outside, I think William Jackson has a much better season this year than he did last year. And I think those three, you're going to be able to really work, the opposing offenses pretty well.
Well, hey, listen, I know that that's good, always good to hear. And we always drink the OTA Kool-Aid as well. We talk about it too, and we get all excited. And hey, at least it's that and not anything else, right? So today, as Big Al said, let's talk a little running back. This is something that we'll probably touch on right now. We might not even touch on it again, because the running back is not what it used to be. The running back is that utility type player versus the all perennial star. But if you have a star, then that's different. And what I've seen, and you guys in RefTheDistrict can tell me if I'm wrong, a lot of the polls, when they talk about the NFC East, say our man AG is number one in the running back category. Mr. I will drop the ball on you.
Chill out, man. Chill out.
Hey, are we having a conversation, Deacon?
Careful now.
It's the ball positive. You over there
No, hey, you said all positive. I said let's get RefTheDistrict on and talk running backs. You said positive. So as the Deacon is challenging me, fellas, how do you feel about our running game? Positive, negative? You can say whatever it is you want.
I think Deacon has a good reason to challenge you on that.
Pow.
Antonio Gibson has played running back for 2 seasons, all at the upper level, the highest level of competition there is. He's done it for 2 years. He had 31 carries in college. He was not a running back, and they converted him. Some guys take time. He has all the talent in the world. But when a guy is all of a sudden carrying the ball a couple hundred times a year, he's going to put it on the ground until he learns and has that experience to fix that. And he's made it a point of emphasis in the offseason to fix that issue. So I don't think they're going to have any problems with him dropping the ball. And he's not going to get as many carries as he had last year as well, because there's a lot of depth at that position now. So stay positive on AGG, especially with the fumbling / non-fumbling issue. I don't think it's going to be an issue ever again.
That's right. You heard him. Hey, listen.
Whoa. He said ever again. What he said?
His name may be Stoner, but he ain't no dope.
What did he say?
What he said?
His name may be Stoner, but he ain't no dope. He knows what he's talking about.
Well, we might steal that. I like that line.
That one's pretty good. That's
it.
Deacon, I told you to always put the copyright at the end. You gotta say
Antonio Gibson is one of the best running backs in the league. He's one of the best. So let's make sure that we feed him in the positions that he needs to be. He's also going to get a lot of help, like you were saying, from our rookie this year, who was a bruising back. So we're going to run. Everybody's concentrating and upset or not upset. Everybody has an opinion about Carson Wentz, but he's not going to have to throw as much as he did in Indy. He's not going to have to throw as much as he did in Philly, and he has better weapons. So you're talking about better weapons on the outside, a running back, two running backs at least that can run the ball. Then you got one that can play wide receiver, and then you got the water bug who comes in whenever he wants to do it, just squirts around. I mean, how can you not be? Listen, I've already threw out Super Bowl.
Here we go.
I already threw it out there.
Here you go.
Say it again.
It is. Oh Lord, here you go. Go ahead, say it again. Say it again.
Say it again.
Well, I just said it twice. I just said it twice without saying it.
Say that again.
Super Bowl. That's what I said. So, listen, off season it's a funny thing, man. So we'll see. We'll see.
You're a
if,
funny
the first
thing.
game come up. Listen, we got a chance to go 7-2 the first 9 games.
Oof.
7. Look at
that's-
the schedule.
I agree.
There's
I
nobody
agree.
there you should be scared of, except for the Packers in the first part of the season, and maybe somebody else. We're gonna spit up on ourselves eventually. But,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm surprised that Trey is so surprised by a proclamation of 7-2 in the first 9. I don't hate that. Now, they're definitely not going to be favorites in all of those games, but when you take a schedule and you had last year and you had Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, possibly the 6 best quarterbacks in the league. And this year, the only returnee of those is Aaron Rodgers without Devontae Adams. And you're replacing them with guys like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Davis Mills, Jared Goff.
Come on,
That's who you're replacing those guys with on your schedule. All those guys can beat Washington because they look at Washington and they say, I mean, we're playing Washington who's got Carson Wentz. We can beat him. But you would rather have the schedule you have this year than last year. So I can see a double-digit win and a 7-2 start, like Deacon said. I can definitely see that.
Nathan, I want to ask you about the offensive line that goes hand in hand with the running game. We lost some key people. We lost the sheriff. We lost Big Brown. We lost 2 major guards that were excellent run blockers. We're talking about the running game, and we're talking about Carson Wentz needing a running game so he won't throw up on himself. He tends to, make mistakes when he has to go back and throw every down. And we lost 1 All-Pro, possibly he might put the gold jacket on when he finishes up playing sheriff. And then we got Brown that was a bruiser. We lost 2 major guards in our offensive line.
Get him
Eric
out.
Flowers, right? You're talking about Eric Flowers there.
Yeah, Eric Flowers. Yeah, my fault, Flowers.
No, I understood. I will say I was pro signing Sheriff, right? I wanted him. A lot of people didn't want to pay that much for a guard. I mean, the dude's an all-pro. Like he makes your line better. Now, that being said, the replacements they got for him, like guards are a lot easier to replace than tackles. Okay, you can get some good play out of mediocre guards better than you can get out of tackles. So I think the replacements that Washington found, plus the coach that they have for the offensive line, is one of the best in the league. And I think that you're going to be able to still get positive, plays out of this team, out of that running game. We mentioned the water bug. I think J.D. McKissic is actually set for a sneaky good year. I think a lot of people are kind of putting him down, behind Robinson because Robinson's going to steal touchdowns. Robinson's going to get those short yardage situations. I think you're going to see more, downs where it's like 2nd and 2 where you can put J.D. McKissic out there and he's not guaranteed to just have to pass block, right? He can actually, he can run the ball reasonably well out of the backfield. So I think that the running game will be there for this team. And I think that offensive line, yes, they lost big names. Sheriff hasn't been available a lot over the last 4 seasons. And I know that's what a lot of people the knock on him was and why people wanted to see him go. But when he's there, he was playing well. Granted, we're going to see him first game of the season, right? I mean, he's playing with Jacksonville and I'm looking forward to seeing Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne and Fadarian Mathis, try to put that all-pro to the test there. But on our side of the ball, offensive line, I think that they're gonna get there. I mean, they played well with their 5th center last year. They were all the way down the 5th center, and they were still doing well. Now, there was times where they're abused. You look at those Dallas games, and they didn't play as well. But I mean, they're also going against Micah Parsons, who was playing out of this world, very well deserved Rookie Defensive Player of the Year award.
Man.
But they're I think you're going to see more from Gibson. I think you're going to see more from J.D. McKissic. And I think, honestly, Brian Robinson at the end will probably be disappointing for some people. But as long as he's contributing positively, you should be fine. You should be happy with that for a third round back.
I'm about to jump in there, Al. You got something to say?
No. I just want to say that I am looking for. Like I said, I didn't believe in playing Sheriff what he wanted. You know, he from the Commanders, he wanted 18 to $20 million at guard, and that was just too much. Now he took 14 in Jacksonville, 13 or 14 in Jacksonville. I personally think that he was ready to leave. He didn't want to stay here anymore. And I'm hoping
fishing down there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's good fishing down there. And I'm hoping Scary Terry wants to stay too, because I'm hearing some rumors and rumblings that Scary is.
Don't go there, Al. Stay on topic.
Okay, I'm still
trying.
I think that the Carolina Panthers that we picked up, we basically picked up two people that Ron knows very well, and the offensive line knows very well. You know, hopefully they got a couple, at least a full season left in them. They older veterans, so they at the end of their career. But hopefully we can get a full season out of them, and they can help our second-year player, a second-year tackle, go forward, because he's a good guy. That guy can play. A second-year tackle can play. Cosme can play. So I'm hoping that they can help him learn the system even better, and then for our running game to really count. I personally think Robinson is going to be a surprise. Alabama has some great running backs in front of him, so I think he's going to be a surprise. And when I understand it, his hands were a little better than they thought he was going to be. He's catching the ball a little bit better than they thought he was going to be. So he might be a little bit more flexible than just a barber. Basically, we got him for being just a barber. And he might be a little bit more than just a barber.
But let me ask you this, Al. And if you were to take all the position groups on a football team, not just this football team, but any football team, and you were to rank them in order of importance of the team, quarterback 1, maybe edge rusher 2, blindside tackle 3, whatever, and you listed them all. Offensive guard may be the last position group of importance within a football team. So if you lose an offensive guard as good as he was, he's replaceable because it's not that important. Of course, you want a great player there, but the importance on a football team is not that high. So I wouldn't be concerned, me personally, I wouldn't be that concerned about replacing an all-pro with a retread, if you will. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, the funny thing is, we drafted him to be a tackle.
That's true. Absolutely.
But potential. He played all the positions on the line. Let me ask you, speaking of drafting, what do you guys think about Chris Paul? That dude is monster. He's big.
He's a big dude. His lower half is huge, though. That way, his lower half is really huge. We might get. You never know. With offensive linemen, it's about getting in the gym and getting them stronger, and how quick they are on their first 2 or 3 steps. And you don't know until they started playing against some of those big boys in the professional ranks of how good they are or not good. So we'll see in preseason where he's at.
So, as everybody's been talking, it's nice. I appreciate that and all your insights. But on this show, I am always right. And what I'm about to say right now is about to break it down. I'm going to go with the first thing that I heard, which was AG, they converted him. And that was Mr. Stoner. He said they converted him. Stoner, I agree. He's an athlete, 100%.
Wow, he is a stud.
Probably a phenom of our team as far as athletic ability. He ranks up there, top 3 easy. Okay?
Who?
I am concerned because I've always been concerned with the coaching here at Washington and how they're going to follow through with converting anybody when it doesn't seem like sometimes they have a plan in place to take it all the way to where they want to go. Honestly. Right? So somebody said, feed him into the position that he needs to be. Yeah, that goes back to coaching. It's nothing. Listen, AGG was in some, not AGG. See, I'm all my AG was in some situations last year that he didn't need to be in. And I know you guys kind of just blew over my man JD, but I challenge you, and I'm going to challenge you. JD McKissic, right here on the night show, is the better back.
Huh? Okay.
Universally.
I was actually putting praise to JD McKissic, so I'm going to challenge you there a little bit. But saying he's better than Gibson, I'm not going to go that far.
I'm going to tell you why. Because JD, and I all credit to what Stoner said. He's exactly right. Second year, they put him in that position, but JD didn't put the ball on the ground. And when a running back puts the ball on the ground, it's almost like a racehorse breaking his leg. It's just that bad. It is not something that you can say, okay, because it's always at the worst time. It's never
his are. And I think that's why people remember those. But there's another person who actually played for the Burgundy and Gold later in his career, mind you, that also put the ball on the ground quite often his first 2 seasons. Now, I'm not going to compare AG to AD.
You have to now. Who is
I'm not going to compare Adrian Peterson all day, baby. That man was fumbling the ball his first 2 seasons relentlessly. People were like, great, he can give you 1,600 yards, but is it worth it because he's putting down the ball? Gibson can give you 1,200 to 1,500 all-purpose yards. He fumbled 6 times his sophomore season. How many times did he put up the ball his rookie year? You guys remember?
2 maybe?
2.
Yeah.
People, this is recency bias, and it's also when he coughed up the ball. It was just so much worse, right? Because when he coughed it up, it was after we got a turnover, and now we're giving the ball back.
Right.
Or it was within our like 20 or 30 yard line. So those just feel worse. He's going to fix that, and he's going to give you 1,400, 1,500 yards. You want that. JD McKissic is great. He is a that scat back, that water bug. He's going to give you probably 800 all-purpose yards. He's not the better back though. He's a better pass blocker. I'll give you that.
So, hold on. Let me go with that. You said he's a better pass blocker, which is something that most great running backs can't do. Correct? Okay. He also didn't put the ball on the ground. We already said that, right? Now, if we're looking at scheme, it's kind of hard to say. And when you choose a number 1 back, you say, I'm going to give him these plays, and my second back's going to get these plays. He was the second receiver on our team, gentlemen. Second, no, not third. You got a back that catches the ball into the flats. You might get third, fourth. Second.
But why was that, Trey? Why was he the second? Because there's 2 good reasons why he was the second.
I'm going to give you one good reason. One good reason is that he has hands that deserve for the ball to go to. And if we had, and I'm going to go look at Big Al right now because he's a Scott Turner fan. If we had a offensive coordinator who could pinpoint and say, you know what? This is actually, we have 2 wide, but we really always have 3 wide on the field because I have plays for this guy right here that he can beat any linebacker. He can honestly compete with the top cornerback because of his athletic ability of carrying the ball.
Come on,
JD
He had me with the linebackers. I lost with the top cornerbacks there.
So let me give you an example. I'm going to give you an example.
You can't throw out 1 or 2 games. He beat somebody once or twice.
Deacon, can I give you an example?
It's got to be every day.
Can I give you an example? Can I give you an example?
Come on, Mr.
The example that I'm giving is this. No, a running back lining up in front of a cornerback is never a good deal. However, when you have any player coming out of the backfield, sir, it is you're trying to figure out where they're going because they're coming out of the backfield. Are they coming out of the backfield to run a pattern? Are they coming out of the backfield for a toss? Are they coming out of the backfield, faking out of the backfield and coming to get the handoff? It's so many avenues that you can use an athletic individual who doesn't fumble the ball and can catch. That's all I'm trying to get you guys to understand.
Trey, before we go, let me hold on again. Trey, McKissic can't even hold up the contact to be the number one back. He just can't hold up.
You're
He
right.
can't hold up the contact. He's going to get hurt. After the fourth game, he's going to be.
He's too small.
He's just too small, Trey. He cannot.
He's on a bell cow.
So really, I think your argument to say that McKissic is a good back, he's good utility back. He is. He is. I don't know if you remember this guy named Joe Washington. I don't know if you're real true.
I don't remember Joe
True
Washington.
Washington fan. He is a typical Joe Washington type back. You know what I'm saying? He's that guy that comes in behind Riggins.
I got him more of a Thompson.
Chris Thompson, so that's a fair, but that's also a recency kind of thing. And Chris Thompson, I don't think is. I love Chris Thompson, but he was never at JD's level.
He was hurt too a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was never at JD's level.
To your point, I can't argue that they stay hurt.
He's hurt. So, I mean, I personally feel like, from a running position, I think, Scott Turner sometimes he focuses in a little bit too much on the run. And unfortunately, on the pass, and the quarterbacks that we had in the past could not pass over 10 yards. They just had a weak arm. So McKissic's numbers are ballooned up. His numbers are bigger.
Reason number one why he was our second receiver.
Yeah, it was a reason because the quarterback can't throw past 10 yards. I mean, we had no one that had a strong enough arm to go past 20. I mean, besides
and he couldn't see over the lineman.
Well, and every play's a broken play. Every play's a broken play.
Yeah, it was. So I think in the future, I think that with Carson Wentz with a strong arm, it's going to be the ball's going to be going to different people. It's going to have to, and really Carson Wentz likes taller receivers and tight ends. Really, that's who he really likes. Unfortunately, Logan is going to be out for a while.
Yeah, well, let me say this while we wrap this up on that one issue, is that we know that J.D. McKissic in college was a wide receiver, okay, and so was A.G. So it's not that he's a better receiver. A.G. had to bulk up so that he can take the pound of a bell cow running back. So he wasn't as quick as J.D. looks last year, but he lost weight this year so that he can get his quickness back. I'm talking about A.G. So, and then we also got to worry about JD's neck. Let's make sure that he's coming back full strength from that injury. Yeah. So, you don't want to throw him out there as an everything down back as well. But here's something that somebody said, and I think Stone said this, and is the stat of 1,000 yards back just worthless now? You talk about 17 games, 1,000-yard season is nothing. You ain't gaining no yards in the game if you only got 1,000 yards in a 17-game season. So we got to have more than 1,000 yards because the last 2 years, AG's had over 1,000 yards in a season, and barely last year. But we've got to get more than that from our running backs. That means we got to get more than that from our line as well. So I just think that 1,000 yards really don't tell me anything anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, you can also look at how many 1,000-yard backs were there last season. There weren't a lot, right? Yeah, that's less than 60 yards a game over the course of 17. So Deacon's right. It's not really 1,000 yards doesn't seem impressive when you got all those games, but then when you actually look at the competition and all of the running backs, only a handful of running backs out of the top 20. That are getting like 200 touches. Only a handful of those actually broke 1,000, and AG was one of them.
Yeah.
Stoner, did they during the OTAs? Did they hand the ball off to our young man from Carolina that plays wide receiver? Our Debo Sanders, our guy that did they even hand the ball off to him? Any at all playing in the backfield?
I am going to let Nathan answer that because he had a better view than I did at OTAs. So I'm going to let Nathan answer that because he talked about that quite a bit as well. He paid attention to exactly what you're asking.
Yeah, Samuel looks looks much livelier this year than we got to see him last year. So, where they were lining him up, there was definitely a couple different positions, and I think the Commanders posted something out on Twitter with him catching a pass, and today looked like out of the slot for that. But yeah, they're lining him up, and you can tell. Maybe you're not a Scott Turner fan, but I think Scott Turner's going to have a lot of fun with having a healthy Curtis Samuel back, and they're going to move him around there. So we'll see.
Hey, and Nathaniel, I like you, man. I like you, man. I like you.
Nathan, you a Scott Turner fan?
I like him.
Stoner, you too. Yeah. I see you shaking your head.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, well, this show is over. Thank you for watching.
I mean, come on. Scott Turner's been handicapped. Look at who he's had at quarterback.
Man, are you kidding me?
We just talked about how J.D. McKissic's your second best wide receiver because, one, the other reason, by the way, is because who else is out there? You got Terry McLaurin and DeAndre Carter. Loved what he did on the return game, but come on, he's not a wide receiver too. So you have J.D. McKissic catching balls because you have Taylor Heineke, who I appreciate what he did. He's a top backup quarterback, but the man can't throw. I could probably throw further than him. So this is just, you can't sit there and tell me that Scott Turner was able to open up the playbook when they don't have a QB. They now have a QB. They have a healthy Curtis Samuel.
Okay. No. Okay, injuries. That's a Washington thing. I get it, and I can't argue that. But what I can't argue is talent, man. How many offensive coordinators just have the luxury of being able to do what you're asking them to do with all those things? You have to scheme your talent. You have to know. Okay, I'm just trying to think of some obscure individual last year and say, hey, look, I know you can do this one good thing well. We're going to have 4 plays in this game. And the fourth one is depending on a certain situation, because as a coordinator, I'm thinking about that. And I'm preparing it because I know it's not going to be stopped. And you just brought up Andre Carter. Andre Carter, you saw probably ran back the only return that we've seen like in the last, 15 years. We don't have returns in Washington, right? That's talented. That is talented even for anybody in the NFL because of the new rules. So when I say that, I'm saying put the ball in this guy's hands a little bit more. Even if it's just to get the defense to go, hey, there goes that number 1. Let's spy on him. Let's look at him. For you to have the slow, what was his name? Tight end. Yeah, whoever.
John Bates.
Do whatever they got to do. Who has sure hands to catch the pass because they're focused on number 1. See, that's a coordinator. The coordinator is saying, yep, if you let him get open, he's going to do his thing, and we're going to win. And if
Trey wants miracles, man. Hey.
Yeah, he wants miracles. Yeah. He's talking about sure hands and catching the ball. Do you not remember DeAndre Carter dropping that pass against Dallas? Like, do you not remember that? Is that erased from your memory? He was wide open. Yeah. So let me
I tried to forget that, but he wasn't even.
I'm gonna say this, Trey. I think this year is going to be key for Turner in the running game because he has the talent. He finally has the talent. I think even offensively with the skill position, he finally has more talent now. So this is going to be key. We're going to really see the true Turner this year, especially with the running game, but also with the passing game, because now he had, hopefully everybody stays healthy or somewhat healthy.
He had improved from the year before. He did some plays that I was like, oh, look at Scott. I was excited.
And then this year you're going to be like, look at Scott. And unfortunately, Scott's going to, blow up. I think he's going to blow up, my personal opinion. This year, Scott's going to blow up.
He has to blow up.
I think we still have him for at least 2 years, but I do think you're going to see a lot more. Trey, I'll give you this. Okay, you brought up coaching. I do think this coaching group is slow to adapt, right? So and Scott Turner is guilty of that too. But you did start to see, you can see some of the creativeness that he brings to the table. And you can see that DeAndre Carter, he had outstretched hands, but he was open, right? Look at the first play against Dallas. We called it, we were doing a live stream, and we called it. It was going to be a play action deep bomb to Terry McLaurin. Terry was open. He had Diggs beat.
Yep.
But the ball was misplaced, and instead of 50-yard gain or touchdown, you're looking at just an awful pass, and people saying that McLaurin was locked down. It was like McLaurin had at least 2 steps on the man. So you're going to see, and he still gets opening. If you can get, what do you have, like?
You get feedback, Deacon.
Yep.
You get feedback. Fade out. Getting feedback. Was going back and forth. So yeah, I agree, Nathan. That's the thing, and it's funny. I think we all kind of called it. We just wanted to see some aggressiveness, and that goes back to my turn of beef too. It's like, look, welcome to Washington. You've been here for a couple of years. If you don't understand the Dallas game by now, I'm worried. I'm concerned. I need you to. We gotta win. I don't care. There's nothing left on the table. It's Dallas. That's what you do. And so when we all kind of said it, we were like, yeah, go deep first play. And they did it. I was like, yes, that was a bonus. Now we saw our athletic ability and connectionness and all of that. But now going back to Big Al, and I'm hoping, so I don't want you guys to think I'm poo-pooing on everything. I do want to see my man Carson Wentz as the better quarterback, and just somebody who can see the play and do a simple pass to a wide open receiver, not a double coverage receiver, not a linebacker sneaking and you didn't see him, because you have the ability and the talent. Coaching would tell me that you kind of looked at Wentz's pedigree and he got that, so I expect that. That's what coach is supposed to do. And that's what I want to see. And that's it. And I do hold them at a certain degree now. And Big Al has said it on this show. We got the coaches here. They're on the cutting block after this year.
Yeah, this year is the case.
Everybody. Nobody.
I want to ask Stoner for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The Indianapolis coach really leaned on the running game for most of the year. And Carson Wentz looked like a comparable professional top 10 quarterback, top 15 quarterback when they did that.
Absolutely.
Turner's, I think, internal mechanism wants him to deke and dunk and pass a little bit more than with Indianapolis. But do you think, Stoner, that maybe we should lean back on what Carson Wentz does a little well, play action, and do what Indianapolis did with him this year for our Commanders? Do you think we should be more like a command, more of a strong running game, featuring the running game with play action to speedy receivers?
No, I think they're going to open up the playbook with Carson Wentz and all of the talent that they have in the skill positions. They drafted Jahan Dotson with the first pick in the first round for a reason, because they want to open up this offense. They brought Carson in for a reason. A talented down the field passer, and then they brought in they drafted Dotson for a reason, a guy who can get open down the field and make the catches. So that's what you're going to see on this offense. I don't think you're going to see a run heavy offense. Every team wants to run the ball and establish that. Ron wants to do that as well, but I think you're going to see it a lot different than you did last year. Last year, for a period, when they were winning, actually, they were running the ball all the time.
Right. And
they were just beating teams up, and that was great. Right. But that, to me, was Scott Turner's, what do you want to call it? That was his brainchild. Maybe it wasn't his idea, but it was his effectiveness as an offensive coordinator to say, I don't have Curtis Samuel. De'Ami Brown is not who we thought he was. Logan Thomas is on the sideline. Taylor Heineke can't throw the ball. Let's go out there and just punch people in the mouth and try and win games this way. And I thought that was brilliant of him to do that. Then you get later in the year and McKissic gets hurt. Gibson is
COVID games
barely hanging on. Then you got some guy named Cody Gilbert. Was that his name?
It was GG. It was
Gary Gilbert.
Gilbert.
Whatever his name was.
Gilbert.
He was here for all of 2 minutes, and so everything just kind of fell apart from there.
Right.
But not this year. No. They have got Curtis Samuel coming back healthy, Dotson, a real quarterback, another running back, a tight end in the 5th round that may be somebody you're going to want to look out for. They have talent, and Scott Turner is going to take advantage of that and open up this offense. I truly believe that.
Here's something, because we haven't talked about this. What about Sam Howell? I mean, 2 years ago, he was predicted to go in the 1st round. And he had a hard season last year in North Carolina because he lost a lot of his weapons, and he had to actually try to do more. But he's not a bad quarterback. His arm isn't that strong. Isn't as strong as I thought it was. But he's obviously a talented quarterback. And to get him in the round that we got him in was, I think, a steal, because we do need to develop a quarterback. And this will give him time to see if he can actually run an NFL team. Because we usually draft somebody or pick somebody just like we did Wentz, and he's thrown into the fire. It doesn't matter if we bring a quarterback in, Jack. He's starting next year. It's like Fitzpatrick. He's old as dirt, but he's starting. What do you see Sam Howell becoming a starting quarterback in this league for us? I don't really care about anybody else.
I'll go first because I know Nathan's going to contrast what I say. I think it was an absolute waste of a draft pick. How many guys can you count on NFL rosters who are starting quarterbacks who were picked later in the 5th round or later? 2, maybe Dak Prescott and Tom Brady, and those are outliers.
Dak was even a 4th. Yeah.
He was a 4th rounder. Okay, I can name 100 quarterbacks who were drafted or undrafted who are not around anymore. Right. Teams passed on him for a reason. He's not going to pan out as a quarterback, especially for this team. We got to get away from this. Let's draft Nate Sudfeld and develop him. Let's draft, who's that other guy that they had, Steven Montez, and let's develop him. Go out there and get the best quarterback like they did with Carson Wentz. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
We don't need to go out and draft a guy in the 5th round and say he was good value and hopefully in 2 or 3. I never want to see Sam Howell play in a Washington uniform. And that's not a personal thing. I don't want to see that.
Wow. Now he's saying that because best case scenario, Carson Wentz pans out and he's our franchise quarterback for the next 10 years, right? So then you would not see Sam Howell play. That's why he's saying that. Now, where he is wrong is it was a value pick. Deacon, you're absolutely right there. I'm with you on this one. When they traded back, he's a backup quarterback. Next year, he will be the number 2 quarterback if everything works out. His ceiling is probably going to be somebody like Huntley or Gardner Minshew, where other teams want him and you can trade him away for value. That might be his ceiling. And if that's okay, that's a 5th round pick that you're going to get value back for. That's a great thing. I will tell you, Deacon, I was a little surprised to hear you say that he didn't have as strong of an arm as you thought, because his arm looked pretty good at OTAs. He was slinging it at OTAs. And if you look at the Senior Bowl stats, they covered the RPM of the ball, the spin of the ball, which helps out on the accuracy. His was the top of the class. Now, he did fall to the 5th round for a reason, right? He did not elevate North Carolina last year when he did lose all those. So yes, he was being looked at as potentially one of the top quarterbacks. He didn't show it. Other quarterbacks do show it. He didn't. So I think that him falling to the 5th happened for a reason. But I'm happy with the pick because they traded back, and when they traded back, I was just like, cool, get a QB, that one of these ones that's falling that people thought maybe they'd go in the 2nd round. A lot of people thought Sam Howell even this year was going to go in the 1st round, 2nd round at least. He's there in the 5th. This is going to be your backup quarterback. You want somebody who can come in and throw the ball. Taylor Heineke knows the playbook. He's going to be here this year.
How tall is he?
He's short, but everybody's. I'm about 6'4", so a lot of people are short to me. So,
welcome to the 6'4"
He's a short guy.
Nathan. We all about that height around here.
I think if he ate some more steak, he might have grown. He might be a little bit better off if he ate some steak and some of those chicken tenders. But
Mumbo sauce is here in the DMV.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
magical
Get
thing.
you some of that.
It is a magical thing, and you
So
never
is he-
you'd be surprised. Whatever you want to happen to you,
It's a mumbo sauce. Is he as tall as Heineke? Is he on the same height as Heineke, or is he?
They're about the same. I'd say even though they're about the same, they're definitely different builds. So the both of them happen to walk by during OTAs. I think one of them's taller than the other. You probably give the other one a haircut and they're the same size. So they're that close, but he seems a little bit sturdier, like the hips down than Heineke. Where Heineke seems to like build up all the fashion muscles to try to make himself look a little bit bigger. But I tell him, there was a big difference. You can see it at OTAs when they were throwing the ball. Like Howell was getting it deep, no problem. Heineke, those were always kind of wobbly. So big difference there.
I don't know why the coaching staff and the front office did this to themselves, because the first time that Carson struggles and throws a left-handed interception in his own end zone, the fans are just going to start calling for Sam Howell. And there's
I think they'll still call for Heineke, Stone. I think
or maybe
the hive runs deep.
I think, yeah, but
Heineke is a Tampa Bay killer. He plays Tampa. He is a monster.
Yeah, we don't play him this year though. So, but still, I don't think they did them. I think they did themselves a disservice by drafting a quarterback, a value at that position that everybody said he could have been the number 1 overall pick 2 years ago, and now you're drafting him. So you're setting yourself up for criticism the moment that Carson starts struggling. And I don't think the coaching staff are going to sit there and say, "Oh, the fans are calling for Sam Howell, we better play him." It's not that, but you're going to have to answer that question every day, all day, every day, and you're going to have to hear it from guys like us all the time. They didn't do themselves any favors.
That sounds like Washington, Stoner.
Yeah,
Washington, sir.
Carson Wentz has a weak, fragile ego. We all know that. So we know he's on his last. Well, it's his third team in 3 years, so I know that he is coming to the. His ego is not strong. We got to keep building him up. I know that. And it's difficult playing quarterback enough. You got, fans hollering and screaming for somebody else. But that's part of playing sports, though.
Again, welcome to Washington. Because we haven't had we don't have a quarterback controversy. We're not an organization. At this point of the show, just want to say, those of you who are still with us, we want to thank you, each and every one of you. We know you are with us for a good reason, because this is great content, because we have RefTheDistrict here. If you haven't, make sure you go to their page, RefTheDistrict, and subscribe and like all of this stuff. They got some great content. We're missing one of them. They are trio 2. But it looks like we lost one of our trios, so this seemed to work out. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, we all agree right now easily, and let's be honest, we're going to be with that Antonio Gibson in the NFC East is the best option at running back.
I think so. I'm not a Zeke fan.
Zeke's on the downhill. He's not even the number 1 running back on his own.
How about
team
Philly?
right now.
The Philly running back is pretty good.
Hey, all right,
Miles
guys.
Sanders, right?
Saquon Barkley, if he's healthy, is by
He's never-
far the best.
But what did you just say? Say it again, Stoner.
I'm saying, if healthy, he's the best running back. He's the top 5 running back in the NFL. He's definitely the top running back in the division.
Yeah.
So those are
I'll agree,
those
but that's a big if.
You're right.
And there you go, Nathan. Those that signed on because you saw our thumbnail and you saw what we were doing here, that is a big if.
Sure.
And injuries is huge. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't run from it. And once especially running back is injured, it is something that is lasting as well, because their bodies are designed to take punishment. And if it's not at the optimal level, then you lose a step, then you don't have whatever. And so with that being said, Anton, if all things perfect, it sounds like we all kind of agree Saquon Barkley is a little bit of better running back than Antonio Gibson. And if things are where they are right now, Antonio Gibson is a solid number one. Agree?
I agree.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm a big Gibson guy. Absolutely.
Well, and that is the reason why we brought you guys on the show to agree.
That's right,
with
Commander.
The OGs.
Commander.
As we are sitting here wrapping this up tonight, we want to thank all of you that came this far. And we have one last thing I want to bring up. Because and many of you who are watching this show are diehard fan, and many of you who are watching this show are diehard RefTheDistrict fans. You already know this, but it is amazing to me that right now we have a convert. What is that? What is he talking about? Well, we have somebody.
I will be a convict.
And you know what, Nathan? He might as well be, because when you hear this story, I was watching, one of my favorite shows, RefTheDistrict, and I was sitting there watching, and all of a sudden, somebody started confessing. And I was like, who? And what did he say? And I had to rewind. I don't rewind much. I hit rewind. And I said, what did he just say? That there's somebody down here at the bottom of the screen that was a former, not New York fan, I hate New York, not Philly fan, because Philly is on site with y'all, Dallas fan.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have to admit that I was a Dallas fan, but I have every excuse and every reason why I was.
Drugs and alcohol.
All of that. That's why my name is Stoner, right? But I grew up in most of my life in Michigan, but then my formative years were in Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida, before the Jaguars.
Shout out to the Bill.
So I had no team, no NFL team. Then I was in the military, and I start moving around. The first place I went, Fort Worth, Texas, then Abilene, Texas, and that was during the years of the Cowboys with Aikman and Irvin and Emmett. And I'm a Florida Gator, so I love Emmitt Smith. But then I keep moving. Then I ended up here in the DMV, right? A mile from FedEx is where I lived, right? And lo and behold, what happened the year I moved there? They hired Steve Spurrier. Now, that didn't work out for the franchise, but they got a convert in me because I was a Florida Gator, and I loved him. And then he started bringing in all these Gators with Werfel and Matthews and Taylor Jacobs and all these guys. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'm a mile from the stadium. I go up there on game day, and the place is packed, and it's rocking. And they sucked, so like they always did. But that converted me, right? That converted me. And then I go overseas, and that's where I meet Nathan, is overseas in Germany. We were stationed together, a fellow Washington fan, and that kept me in the game.
There you
and then
go.
As soon as I come back, what happens? RG3 happens. And then I'm locked in, right?
Probably three sticks, y'all.
Yeah. So then I'm locked, and I've been locked in ever since, because of that. But I've never experienced the winning. I was not around for the Super Bowl years. So I think I deserve a little bit of love rather than hate, because I've stuck through it all these years.
It's coming, baby. It's coming.
All right, let's go.
It's coming.
Not only is it coming, but it definitely qualifies you as a fan.
All right.
Yes, sir.
You
Awesome.
went through all of that, and we all been there with the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We want to thank you for recognizing that you made that horrible choice in the beginning, and now are home.
Yes, sir.
I'm home, baby.
Yeah, you're not going to hear that story nowhere else. I'm glad that you came on and you're able to tell that story, because that is amazing, because that's how bad it is when we hear anything Dallas, the Mavericks, anything Dallas, the TV show.
That's right.
I see JR and I throw up in my mouth a little bit. We can't stand it, but to see a convert as much as you are, and folks, when I tell you, if you go, make sure you sign in to RefTheDistrict, check them out. You wouldn't know. You just wouldn't know, so I had to have them share that with us right here. Fellas!
Hold Trey. I'm going to make an audible here. Before we go.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I gotta put my glasses on for this.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I like this stuff. I like this.
Get 'em,
Your
Deacon.
choice.
Go ahead, it's your choice. Y'all pull it out. I'm gonna drag the show down if I start talking. I'm gonna start going in circles.
So the rules are, you get to pick a team of 3. This is for those that come on our show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this has nothing to do with NFL, sports, or anything else, but let me tell you what this is. This is for us to identify foolishness or solid players. Yes, let's go.
Pick your 3.
Thank you, Deacon.
All right, Stoner, you want to go, or you want me to jump into the fray here?
I'm gonna ask you. I gotta ask a question.
I go ahead before you go. I have to put it out there. There's one answer that will get you kicked off for life.
Immediately.
Uh-oh.
Get you banned for life. Now, I can't
All right.
tell you who it is, and don't listen to Big Al.
Those are the rules.
Next question.
Them's the rules. All right, I have to ask. Who's number 10? I don't know. I don't recognize number 10.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Nobody does.
All right, so good.
Nobody
All right.
has.
All right.
And nobody has picked them either, so don't worry about it.
All right, cool. So
What's
I'm
that?
definitely the number one, the creme de la creme, the guy who is above everybody else.
Number 5.
Bruce Lee is number
Kenny
1.
dude.
I mean, it's
Go ahead,
not even
Stoner.
close.
That's right.
Number one, huh?
Yeah, it's not even close.
Stoner got 1. That's
In
2
his
more.
in his heyday, I will say this: in his heyday, before they shipped him off to prison for not paying his taxes, I would take Wesley Snipes in his heyday all day. All day.
The 1 and 3.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
an offshoot.
You've avoided the landmine so far.
I like Stoner. Go ahead, Stoner.
All right. So then my last one, I can't do that. I can't do
Number 5.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to go with number 5.
There you go. Yes.
And Stoner gets kicked off.
Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake.
Stoner, don't
Hey, I got
listen to
goaded
Big
in.
Al. We
I
told
got
you.
goaded into that. That wasn't fair.
There's at least 3 people better than him.
He's flexible.
I got
Pick.
goaded into that. That's not fair.
Bam!
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And you failed.
All right, then, go ahead, baby.
You was doing
Of course, number 1. You know, he's the OG, and we're on the OGs, so you gotta go with the OG there.
Good start.
I'm a fan of the humor and love of the skill set that number 9 brings to the game. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Hey,
And
and
I-
just so
I-
that you know, everybody on this page, even Mr. Obscure 10, apparently has pedigree. So none of these
I'm
dudes
sure,
are
yeah.
just actors. Okay, so I
Yeah.
just want to make sure we understand that.
I'm struggling with the third one here. So Jet Li.
5.
No, definitely not picking 5. He
Come on,
actually
5.
might be below the guys I don't know.
He's flexible.
7 and 11 are where I'm at here. And 11, I'm only going to give you. Hold on.
Yes.
Hear me out before I get kicked off here. Chuck Norris
He's
is
a
an
mountain.
Chuck Norris is an Air Force vet.
Yeah.
You got 2 Air Force vets here, so that's where I'm just kind of. But I'm going to go with number 7. I'm gonna leave Chuck on the sidelines, and I'm going with
Chuck is
some Jet
75
Li.
years old and still active.
I thought Chuck Norris was the trap that you guys were trying to keep me away from.
Nah, it was number 5.
Stoner, Chuck Norris is kind of a trap, but you fell for the trap.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Hey, but listen, both here, I would say, got solid 2 picks, and anything else could be questioned. It's just all fun. We just have a great time with doing that. Thank y'all for coming on.
Thank y'all.
RefTheDistrict. Listen, if y'all haven't done it yet, I've said it 3 times now. I'm gonna say it a 4th time. You gotta go and subscribe to these guys' channel, man. It's an awesome show. Hey, one guy's not missing. Let's give a shout out to Trev. He's not here right now.
He's out there hustling. It's a
You know what I'm saying?
little spoiler. I can't
we gonna
give
say
too
this.
much news, but a little spoiler here on your channel. Trev is working to become a business owner, and we might have some good news coming here in the next couple weeks on that. So
Oh,
that's why he's not here today. He's out there
that's
hustling.
Nice
So
news. Great news. I was about to clown him, so I'm not going to do it now. So Trev, shout out to you. I hope everything works out well and everything is positive, man. And we want to thank everybody for staying this long. And hey, once again, the OGs of the DMV with Ref the District is bringing it to you. Hey, Deacon, I hear the music. You know what we do. We about to go out of here. Hey, everything is great with Mumble Sauce.
All right, gentlemen.
The girl is out partying, touching my body, talking to me like I'm a kindergarten. Today she's on mine, tomorrow she's on his. Don't worry about me, because I know what time it is. Time to get mine while you're trying to get yours. I'll get my paws and no silky jaws. Trying to take me to the cleaners, and I got a trick, because all you're ever gonna get is a piece of mind. Did you know that my girlie, my toe, is easy to come and harder to go? I hope you got a good heart, and you're a good sport, because I'ma treat you like we were on basketball court. Run you around, turn you up and down, and turn you out, and leave you in the lost and found. So if you wanna be down, better listen up, and before you're dealing with me, you better know what time it is. Or do you know what time it is? Tell me, do you know? Do you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? Tell me, do you know? Do you know what time it is? 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 Do you know?